Good morning. Oh, that's only fair. Good morning. Well, that's better. Good. I'd like to welcome you to the 26th celebration of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And I want to start by recognizing the people of Faces and Voices who organized and produced this event. Claudette and Tim Bees, Marianne Conzett, and Marlene Wohler especially. Let's just take an opportunity to thank them for Pastor Tim Bees, who is normally in this position that I'm in, is in a spiritual retreat near Chicago, and he'll be back next year. Julie Spahn will be interpreting for this event. And I'd like to begin by reflecting just a little bit on what happened a week ago last night when Oprah Winfrey told the audience of the Golden Globes Awards of her experience as a young girl in 1964, seeing Sidney Poitier win the Oscar for Best Actor. Oprah said, "Up to the stage came the most elegant man I've ever seen. I remember his tie was white, and of course his skin was black. And I'd never seen a black man being celebrated like that." Dr. King dedicated his life and ultimately lost his life fighting against the kind of racism that made this event such an important one for Oprah. 5 weeks ago, on December 8, 2017, Art Cullen wrote in the Times of Storm Lake, Iowa, "Hey kids, we have a problem right here in River City, and it isn't pool, it's racism. It's all over Iowa." This is why we've been gathering for 26 years on this day. Just as the work is not yet done for those who say, "Me too," and their time is up, our work here in Dubuque is not yet done. Depending on the source that you consult, from 3.2% to 5% of the people in Dubuque County, have skin the color of Dr. King. Let's say approximately 4 people out of 100. There are 109 police officers in Dubuque. Are there 4 African Americans? There are 70 firefighters. How many are black? Among the 1,800 faculty and staff of the Dubuque Community School District, are there 72 who are black? 4 out of each of the 100 faculty at Loras, UD, and Clark? How about Mercy and Finley, Heartland Financial, Kendall Hunt, A.Y. McDonald, Cottingham and Butler, McGraw-Hill? We are getting close to a critical mass of people in Dubuque who take these questions seriously. Many of you are here today. Thank you again for your presence. Those of you who are students, we have a lot of students here from several schools, Hempstead, Clark, Loras, UD. Those of you who are students, remember to come back next year, because the work in Dubuque that Dr. King inspired is not yet done. Those of you who have been here before, bring a friend next year, because the work in Dubuque that Dr. King inspired is not yet done. And let's all remember that although it took effort for each of us to get out of bed and get through the snow and show up here for breakfast, it'll take considerably more effort for us to continue the work of combating racism in this place. Dr. King's life can continue to inspire us. I ask you to join with me in prayer. Even if you've finished eating, the prayer is for the event. Gracious God, ruler of the universe, we give you thanks for the abundant blessings you shower on us. As we look around at the elegance of this place, the warmth of this room, and the abundance of this food, we acknowledge how privileged we are. We ask that you be present in the lives of all those who don't have the privilege we do. Support them in their struggles and recommit each of us to work with them to help improve the quality of all of our lives. Bless those who prepared this food, bless it to our use, and bless us to your service. Amen. We have a number of elected officials and people who've committed their lives to public service, or at least a good part of their lives to public service, who are present today, and I'd like to recognize them. Brad Kavanaugh, who is a candidate for the Iowa House District 99, is here. Michael Van Milligan, our city manager. Rick Jones, city council person. Lindsay James, who's a candidate for the House District 99. Kate Larson, another city council person. Anderson Sansey, school board. Abby Finkenauer, candidate for the U.S. House. Dave Baker, Dubuque County Supervisor. And have I omitted any other elected officials who are here? Lisa Whitman, the school board. Any others? I think let's show our appreciation for the elected officials who are here. Because of the nature of this event, I'd like to also recognize a couple of other groups. And one is those who are in positions of responsibility in the Dubuque Community Schools and the tertiary higher education institutions in the Dubuque area. Faculty and administration who are working to improve the schools and to interact effectively with the students there and with parents. They're making a significant contribution to our community. Can I ask faculty and administrators from the schools to stand to be recognized? And finally, I'd also like to recognize a group that I already referred to, some of whom are standing here over on my right already. Students who are here, students at every level who are up earlier than I'm sure some of them wanted to be. But again, with your presence, you're honoring Dr. King and his legacy here in this place. Students, would you please stand? Got to check the order. Really appreciate Teresa Slade's contribution to our program today, and we'll have some music from the Hempstead Choir. Let's see, wait, let's take an opportunity to thank the Hempstead musical group that provided music for us before we begin. Teresa?
In 1964, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., age 35, was the youngest recipient of the Nobel Peace Prize to date. The song, One Voice, by Barry Manilow, well, it was performed in Oslo, Norway in 2010 at the Nobel Peace Prize concert. We begin in darkness. Just one voice singing in the darkness. All it takes is one voice singing so they hear what's on your mind. And when it looks around, you'll find there's more than one voice singing
friend. If you need somebody, just call me. And we can work it out. You got to lean on me. We shall overcome.
It's an honor for me to be able to introduce our speaker this morning. I met Dr. Faris Muhammad on paper when I served on the hiring committee that originally brought him to Dubuque to be director of the Multicultural Family Center. He and I have worked closely together at the MFC, and we co-facilitated a workshop on bias at Hempstead High School. I count him as one of my teachers. Before I met him face-to-face, I was impressed with Dr. Muhammad's credentials. He completed his bachelor's degree in business at Northwood University, earned a master's of business administration at Eastern Michigan, and then worked as an assistant manager for Kroger stores in Ypsilanti, Michigan. As you know, Kroger is the largest grocery retailer in the nation. Faris had 200 employees reporting to him there, and during his tenure, the store achieved the highest sales growth in the region. So he's not just an academic. And he does have solid academic credentials. In 2013, he began doctoral studies at the University of Georgia with the support of 2 prestigious fellowships. And I want to mention, as a person who's been involved in graduate education for about 35 years, fellowships at the doctoral level are rare these days, and they were rare in 2013. The 2 fellowships which supported Faris's study linked him to other universities where there were centers for the study of Black experience, including Loyola University of New Orleans, Clemson, University of Wisconsin, University of North Carolina at Charlotte, and Ohio State. He's now an adjunct professor of sociology and criminal justice at the University of Dubuque. Faris's presentation for the hiring committee began with a quotation from Martin Luther King that I had not heard before, and that is now taken on special importance for his work and mine, and this is just one of the ways I see him as my teacher. In the quotation, Dr. King identifies fear as a root cause of racism and identifies its main solution as what Dr. King calls proper communication, which is close interest to me. Faris's academic credentials are so extensive and solid that some members of the hiring committee were worried that he wouldn't be practical enough for the position of director of the Multicultural Family Center. His work at Kroger and the fact that his dissertation research was a reflective analysis of lived experience convinced me that we didn't need to worry. What that phrase of reflective analysis of lived experience means is that Ferris's research, which will be reflected in what he talks with you about today, Ferris's research focuses on what he has actually lived through. Of course, he has outside sources, including other studies and extensive interviews, but his research focuses on African American males in Detroit. And Ferris grew up in the projects of Detroit. To give you a sense of what this means, Detroit's population went from 1.8 million in 1950 to 700,000 in 2015, a reduction of almost 2/3. And Ferris tells me that the city leaders in Detroit might have fudged those numbers a little because Michigan has a law that you can't have any casinos if your population drops below 700,000, and there were 3 casinos in Detroit, and they wanted to save them. So his research talks about the experiences he had here. The average price of a home in Detroit in 2012 was $7,500. That same year, the average price of a home in Iowa was $112,000, and in the U.S. it was $249,000. $7,500 in Detroit. When Ferris was growing up, Detroit had the highest crime rate in the U.S. and the highest percentage of citizens below the poverty line. Like many Detroit children, Ferris and his 8 siblings grew up in the foster care system. He didn't have the advantage of a stable family life that many of us enjoy. This experience was critical in leading him to study the educational resilience of African American males in Detroit. When you think of the kind of character it takes to achieve what this young man has achieved, to move himself from the projects of Detroit to where he is now as a leader, mentor, scholar, and professional, you begin to get a sense of why we're so fortunate to have him both as one of the most inspiring people in our city and as our speaker. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Ferris Muhammad.
Thank you. Make sure we got this on right. Thank you all, appreciate that. Thank you, John, appreciate that warm introduction. I didn't know where John was going to go with some of this as I didn't hear his introduction previously, but he almost made me sound like a somebody for a second. Don't be deceived, you all. Good morning. Again, can we give the choir another round of applause for that great presentation this morning? They broke out with the Bill Withers. That caught me off guard for a second. You know, it's one of my favorite songs, Lean on Me. So thanks again. Great job to the choir. You have to bear with me this morning. I'm not usually like an early morning person, so my swagger might be just a little bit off this morning, but bear with me. I want to start with this quote from Dr. King, which I'm sure many of us have all heard before. Let me close this thing on here. One second. We're having some issues here. Got like a pop-up on his screen, so we're going to try to work our way around that, so disregard that. So Dr. King said, "I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character." For this dream that Dr. King had, he was killed. for having such a vision as that. In the eloquent words of a renowned philosopher from Detroit by the name of T. Grizzly, who once stated, "They preyed on my downfall." And despite Dr. King wanting to, on all 10 toes, stand tall for this dream of trying to bring about racial equality, he paid a severe consequence for such. Okay, can we get this clicker going? One second.
Excuse me, I'm really glad that you did that because you created a lot of racial discrimination in our country. We've got our children who are going with black and white people, and we don't need that. We have homes that are all the same because we are not the same. And you ruined the European culture.
You?
We have built tons of homes that are all the same that do not need to be the same. And you have ruined our children's lives. So you need to be part of the process of tearing it down.
Let her be, let her be.
And everybody in this country is
Let her be. Let her be.
you guys are all pretty walking.
Can I get an IT person up here, please? Just disregard that, everyone. Disregard that. Disregard that. She'll be okay. She'll be okay. She'll be okay. What is this name right here? Your trial has expired. Disregard that, everybody. Please don't let that kill anyone's spirit this morning. We're in a good space this morning. Let's please clap it up. Thank you all. We'll use that as an example, as a testimony to the work that still has to be done, right? And for what Dr. King stood for, it goes to show we have a lot more work we still have to do. So let's disregard and not feed it to any negativity this morning. Let's keep being progressive. Thanks to the IT guru, Adam. Appreciate that, Adam. And I promise that was nothing staged on behalf of Faces and Voices. At least I hope not. I'm joking. So moving along, right? So when we think in terms of Dr. King and how much progress have we made? Exactly. So here's the thing someone taught me when I was very, very young, about 12 years of age, and it's always resonated with me and stuck with me. Give me 1 second. Restart later. Hopefully that's not on the screen. Okay, we're having some pop-ups, disregard that. But the thing someone taught me early on was that you cannot grow in denial. Right? And so I always thought that was powerful when I was young, for the reason being, here's an example. Racism exists. If we attempt to deceive ourselves to believe otherwise, we'll have no reason or rationale as to continue to try to make forward progress as it relates to minimizing or eradicating racial tension, right? So first you have to address the facts that exist, or else you will never make progress if you're living in denial. So you can't utilize deceptive intelligence to deceive yourself to believe that something that exists no longer exists, or you will never make progress. So first and foremost, we have to address the facts. So today I'm going to share a few facts with us, and this is early morning, so I need some energy, right? So we're going to be kind of interactive this morning. So when I say something that's factually based, if you agree with that being a fact, I want you to respond back and say facts, okay? We all understand the instructions this morning? Okay, let's walk through some of these then. Let's start with something simple. Let's start with 1 + 1 = 2. Fact? Okay, we're in the building. Here's something I find interesting. When we think about a simple fact such as 1 + 1 equaling 2, I've never in my short-lived experience ever seen anyone get upset about that. You? Okay. So when we're stating facts throughout today, I'll probably showcase a few things, and then I'm going to say, hey, just the facts, and I want you all to respond with, okay, good, everyone's awake. And so here's a fact, as Dr. John Stewart kind of mentioned about my upbringing in Detroit, and he kind of provided some context as relates to the environment in which I was raised, which shortly I'll explain the theoretical framework that guided much of my research as it relates to the importance of context being provided. And so when I think of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., despite me showing the quote from my presentation when I was interviewing here in Dubuque for the position I have now, the director of the Multicultural Family Center, growing up, I wasn't much of a big fan of Dr. King. And I'll share with you some reasons why shortly. So just to lay some foundation and some guidance for some structure, some base today, I don't plan to go through a long laundry list of chronological accomplishments of Dr. King and the things that he accomplished, because of course these are some things that you can Google, and in the interest of time, that will take a long time considering all the things that Dr. King indeed did accomplish. Nevertheless, especially for the youth in here, one more time, can I see the hands of all the students in K through 12, from kindergarten to 12th grade? Can I see the hands? Raise them high. Okay, beautiful, beautiful. Yes, another round of applause for the babies getting up this morning. I will, however, encourage all the youth in here to go and actually Google some of the accomplishments of Dr. King and try to think of some of those accomplishments in proper context, that being the 50s and the 60s while he was here, and understand that work during that time and the obstacles that he faced. And you think about some of the obstacles we face today, right? And you can understand more of the pushback that he had during a time where blacks were not allowed to even say certain things, right? So this model that you all, whoa, maybe you don't see it. Making sure you're still with me this morning. So it's not showing up on the screen. Okay, it's showing up on my computer. I'm not going to show it. This is not my laptop here. I'm not sure what's going on here. I might need an IT person to give me a hand here if possible. Let's get Adam back to the stage. Hold on, so some of them showed, some of them didn't? See, I'm on this one here. Not showing up there, though. So while Adam's doing that, I'll just walk you through until we see the picture, assuming Adam's going to be able to solve this problem shortly for us. So the theoretical framework that I utilize to guide my research study is called the ecological theory of human development. And that's just a bunch of fancy words that essentially means that environmental factors impact who we are and how we were raised, how we grew up, right? So if you think in terms of, let's just say Dubuque, let's say 20 years ago, a very homogeneous community. That means many people who grew up in Dubuque probably went to school with people who looked predominantly like them. I think, in the 80s, what was it, 98% white in Dubuque? About 98%, maybe a little more, depending. Okay, so that means most people here in Dubuque went to school with people who looked like them, went to church with people who looked like them, to recreation centers, grocery stores, public libraries, etc. And that means that the people around them had an impact on the way they think, the way they behave, the way they practice, their worship, etc. So it's important to understand the context surrounding or the environment in which a person was raised in order to get a better sense of why that person became who they are. And if I had this motto up here, I'll be able to show you a better example of what I'm discussing. IT people, where are you? Just certified. This is. It's all good. We'll keep it pushing until someone gets here. It's all good. Thanks. But here's the thing. So for me, I mentioned the theoretical framework as it relates to environmental factors and how it impacts who we are, because for myself, it's important to understand, for me, who I am and how, as the renowned philosopher Audrey Graham Drake once stated, know yourself, know your worth, right? So for me, it's important for me to know who I am based on the environment in which I grew up in. Detroit, as Dr. John Stewart mentioned earlier, for over the last 10 years has essentially been considered the most dangerous city in America, right? So that means the culture in Detroit has been one of a pretty violent culture. And so for me, I was disconnected from anything or anyone that appeared to be, as we say in ebonically speaking, soft, right? So if somebody I thought were displaying characteristics of a weaker person or something to that nature, thanks a lot. Put it there, buddy.
Yeah, right there.
Hey, that's love. That's love.
Give me some. There is some.
Okay. We just making it over all kind of hurdles this morning. This is beautiful. So here's the model that we were speaking about. And on this diagram here, you can see how it just kind of highlights how family, friends, community centers, government, the macro, the micro, as exo, meso, all these different systems surrounding us who shape who we are. So again, for myself, growing up in Detroit, when I would learn of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., I wasn't impressed. I was kind of disconnected from him, and I was more a favor of Malcolm X, right? When you think in terms of, hey, you know, by any means necessary versus I have a dream, you know, those are the slogans that two men are mostly famous for, which, in my opinion, oftentimes is a tragedy, because too often I think we reduce or minimize these two powerful individuals to a simplistic slogan, which is no good. Make sure they shows. Okay, there we go. We're in business. Okay, so first and foremost, let me say I'm no expert on Dr. King. And as I mentioned, I didn't much care for him. And when I thought and heard stories of here's a black man who subjected himself to much abuse at the hands of white folks for things such as wanting to eat at a restaurant counter with white people. And this is in my young, underdeveloped mind that I had these views of Dr. King, thinking, why would you subject yourself to the abuse or capitulate to white people in a way that threatens essentially your manhood? And so I couldn't resonate. That didn't resonate well with me as a young man in the environment in which I was raised. And so even if we look at these pictures, and I hope that these pictures are not too triggering for anyone, but when you see, for an example, this here were government officials engaging in violence against black people, and mainly because of the color of their skin. This is very problematic, of course. So you have police officers, firefighters, police officers releasing German shepherds on black women. In some cases, in some pictures, you can Google them. I didn't care to really show those ones, but you can see German shepherds being released by police officers, biting the breast off of black women. In some cases, dogs would bite the reproductive organs of black men. You can see firefighters releasing water hoses on black families, men, women, children, knocking black folks against buildings, down the street, pounds and pounds of pressure coming out of water hoses, knocking black people up and down the street. This, I was thinking, why would someone subject themselves to that? That I couldn't subscribe to as a young man growing up in an environment where Detroit can essentially be classified as a place where the motto or the the ideal is a dog-eat-dog world, right? The survival of the fittest. So this right here, I just had a strong disconnect from. So again, context is always important, because when I think about Dr. King, what made Dr. King Dr. King? And so the motto I showed you all earlier, that ecological theory of human development, again, when you take into consideration context, why did Dr. King become the man we know today? Because of racism, right? Facts? Okay, still with me. So point being, if racism didn't exist, we likely wouldn't know of a Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., right? Because he fought against racism. He fought for equal rights. He fought for equality, racial justice, racial equality, racial fairness, right? If those things are already happening, there would be no reason for a Dr. King. Facts? Okay. And so, again, when you look at this picture here, and you think about Bull Connor, right? Police chief. This guy was getting paid by tax dollars to engage in abuse against black people. That's interesting when you think about it. And again, when you put it in context, this is 50 to 60 years ago. This is during many people in this room during your lifetime. So this is not something so historical or far-fetched to where, oh, we have made it past all of that, right? Because we still have many challenges today. And again, you can't grow in denial. So we have to address the facts and understand where we are and where we come from so we can have a better sense and understanding of where we're going, right? What problems need to be solved based on what problems existed and why did they exist, right? Why was there forms of racial tension, right? Why were there ideas of some people being superior and some people being considered inferior, in large part simply because of their skin tone? Can we agree this is problematic? Facts? Okay, I heard somebody else with facts. Okay. So, show of hands, how many people heard about the 4 little girls at the 16th Street Baptist Church in Birmingham, Alabama before? Okay. So, 4 babies. And this is powerful that I show this picture for the reason being that it goes to show then and even today that racism don't discriminate, right? So here you had 4 girls, babies, inside of a church that got bombed by what some considered to be a white supremacist because of racial progress. Kids were not off. Kids got no pass. They weren't spared either. And so again, these things, these examples, these instances of racism is what produced Dr. King's and the likes to take a stand and say, hey, no more. Change must happen. And so it wasn't until later in life for me, about my first, second year of college, to where I started to contextualize this and have a different vision of Dr. King. Again, we refer to the man as the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. So the guy had a doctorate degree, right? In many cases, some of these things he could have simply said, hey, that's not my problem, that's not my struggle, right? So why did he care? Why did he sacrifice all that he sacrificed and subjected himself to getting knocked down by water hoses, being bit by German shepherds, being beat over the head with billy bats and things, right? So when I thought of it in that context, I no longer saw Dr. King as this soft, weak guy. I saw him as a powerful man who sacrificed for not just his people, that being those who share the same skin tone, but he fought for equality and justice for poor people and people across the board. He spoke very frank about the wars and reducing the slaughtering of people of skin tone or different skin colors, right? So at that way, where it was at this point, when I started to look at it through that lens, I started to have a better appreciation for Dr. King, although I had a strong appreciation for Malcolm X. And to use the words of Malcolm X, some of the words he's often quoted for, very popular for, I started to reflect on my views on Dr. King, and I said, wow, I think I had been hoodwinked and bamboozled in. Nobody knows how to finish that one? Okay, one more time? Okay, we're in the building, okay. Making sure you're still with me here. One more time? Okay, you said it with a little soul back there too. Okay, I feel you, bro. So, Dr. King to me often got showed to me in his very, very passive light, and I find this troubling because I often look at some of the youth, some of the babies, some of the kids who come to the Multicultural Family Center, some of the kids we mentor on behalf of the Black Men's Coalition, and I often think and try to look at them through my experience, right? How might they be viewing Dr. King today? Do the stories they hear about Dr. King, do it resonate with them, right? And what are the stories of Dr. King that we are sharing with the youth and our counterparts or our peer groups? What is the understanding that we have of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.? And again, not that I'm an expert on the man, it's just I have some level of shallow knowledge, and I can only share with you my experience coming to terms with Dr. King regarding how I viewed him then and how I view him now. So I'm trying to show this video. I know we haven't been having the best of luck with technology this morning, but we're going to take a risk here and see if this can work out. It's up there? Oh, look at that. To the left? Or my left? Okay.
But I want to get the language right.
Pause it for a
Yeah,
second.
please.
All right, I do
Hey,
apologize.
this your show, bro. Hey,
How's your day?
phenomenal.
That's good. You're doing pretty good.
That's good.
There we go. Really hard to see from all the way over here.
Yeah, I think it's out there. We can enlarge it?
I can try. Do you mind just giving me a second?
No problem, no problem. Your swagger going up at Hempstead now, buddy.
All right. All right. So that'll be the play button, and over here we'll. There we go. Thanks, guys.
I want to get the language so right that everybody here will cry out, yes, I'm black, I'm proud of it, I'm black and beautiful.
Hold on, Varick, that didn't go as planned all the way. Let me request you back to
And
the
help
stage.
welcome our honored, distinguished guest, the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King.
Thank you very kindly. Principal Fornese, Mr. Williams.
And so the idea, while he's working on that, is to show you a different clip of Dr. Martin Luther King that I think, had I seen at such an early age, I would have had a different appreciation of Dr. King. But of course, I appreciate the experience that I had of viewing him one way, and this is.
Yep, if you just hit here.
And help welcome our honored
How do we go back to the other video? That
The other
just that?
video?
Yeah, 'cause I can't see
The
it on
other
here.
video. I'll be right back.
It's all good. Hey, he's the man. We're going to talk about some of these IT issues later, but it's all good. So point being is I'm often curious about how, if Dr. King was portrayed in one way to me, what type of appreciation I would have had for him at such an early age, and how might he inspired me differently than the view I had of him being more of a passive person or a weak person, considering that time. And I was just, like, again, I was often just confused. I thought, why are you fighting with people to sit down? This is my thinking as a young man. Why are you subjecting yourself to this type of abuse to sit down at a restaurant counter and to have hamburger and fries next to white people as if by some means of osmosis is going to make your food taste better sitting next to a white person eating it? These were my thoughts as a kid. I didn't understand why. It's like, hey, okay, if you can't eat next to a white person, then don't worry about it. Just keep it pushing. And that's what I thought. First.
Oh, that one's working? Okay, thank you.
We're just going to hold you up here, bro. We're going to hold you up here.
I do apologize. I'm trying to make it easier on you so you can just do it on this one.
I'll tell you what, let's disregard the video. You can just go back to the PowerPoint.
All right.
I appreciate that.
I do apologize.
No, you don't. No, you don't.
Here, let me fix back your double screens apparently, right?
We making it happen this morning. You putting a lot of hard work in.
I don't need to go to the gym anymore. Okay. This is a very touchy computer.
And we're going to jump around a little bit. I'm going to shorten this up some. We going to get back to the phone.
There we go.
There we go.
Let me get you back on it. I'm sorry. All right. Okay, here we go.
Okay.
So now you can just control it. From
Yeah,
there.
thanks. We're going to
right.
disregard the video. All right. So we're going to disregard the video. We're going to just kind of expedite this process as far as up here thus far. So point being, I was just curious. This was the quote that I was going to show you all in that video, where Dr. King just kind of spoke with a lot of passion about him being very proud of his skin color, his identity, and he spoke a lot about empowering other black people to embrace and appreciate their heritage and where they come from, despite society attempting to treat blacks inferior, and that starting to resonate with black people to where they started to really feel inferior to other people based simply on their skin color and the way they were treated in society. So some of these things that he said, I was like, okay, when I came across some of these things, to where if you study the history of Dr. King, you can see that he essentially had made somewhat of a transition from taking that which can be considered a softer line or a softer approach related to racial issues and things to really start to become even more emboldened in how he spoke and how he spoke about his identity, him being black. If those who have read the letter, the Birmingham, when he was in prison, the Birmingham letter, you can hear him speaking about how racism really started to disturb him when he had a conversation with his daughter, seeing a commercial on the television of some type of like theme park. And his daughter wanted to go to that park. And he told his daughter, since you know, hey, you can't go. And she asked the question, like, why? And he had to face and say, hey, how do I explain to my daughter that she can't go and enjoy just typical recreational fun that all kids indulge in because of her skin color? How do I explain to my daughter that she will be treated as if she's cursed based on her skin color? And you can see him really starting to say, man, things have to change. I have to become a bit more vociferous and speak more passionately about these racial issues and take a different strategy, because change has to happen more rapidly than what is currently happening. And so just some of the things that he said somebody told a lie one day. He said they couched it in language. They made everything black, ugly, and evil. He said, look in your dictionaries and see the synonym for the word black. It's always something degrading, low, and sinister. He said, now look at the word white. It's always something pure and high and clean. But I want to get the language right tonight. I want to get the language so right that everybody here will cry out, yes, I'm black, and I'm proud, and I'm black, and I'm beautiful. When I heard him say, I said, whoo, okay. Now we talking, Like, how do you become more comfortable about your identity and embrace who you are? I said, wow, that's the message that some young black children need to hear from many black leaders and even other leaders who are not black, right? How do we collectively, despite our race, our background, our lineage, our ethnicity, our heritage, how do we ensure that all youth feel valued, despite their skin color? How do we continuously try to work across racial lines to ensure that as a society we have a more a better future? We have more faith in our future based on children understanding that we are all human beings. And of course, right now, that burden, that challenge is on many of us as adults, not to negate the responsibility that the children have as well, but it's on all of us. And so when I seen some of those things, I said, wow, maybe I was just limited in my access to resources that gave me a better depiction or a better understanding of Dr. King. In one of his lectures, he called it The Other America, and this was in 1967. He spoke about much of the struggles that still exist today, and I just was thinking about the things he said in 67 and some of the conversations I'm often having today and hearing different politicians having some of these conversations about equity and things of that nature. And he said, hey, the struggle today is much different. He said it's more difficult today because we are struggling now for genuine equality. He said it's much easier to integrate a lunch counter than it is to guarantee a livable income and a good, solid job. So he's still talking about jobs then in 67 and many times today. We're still talking about who have a livable wage to where they can provide for themselves and their family. He said, it is much easier to guarantee the right to vote than it is to guarantee the right to live in sanitary, decent housing conditions. Again, throughout this country, we're still having housing issues, right? How do we ensure that people have access and opportunity to live in a decent place that's habitable to live in? And so these were issues he were addressing in 67, and in large part, these are issues that are still very prominent today in society. And so again, he said it's much easier to integrate a public park than it is to make genuine, quality, integrated education a reality. So these are issues in 67, and today if we look across the nation, when you think in terms of inner city schools, and you think in terms of those schools just outside of inner cities, majority of the times you'll find in schools outside of the inner city, it's predominantly white. In those schools within inside the inner city, it's predominantly students of darker color, right? And so why are certain people relegated to certain schools, right, based on where they live? So these were issues that were being tackled 50, 60 years ago, and we still seem to have somewhat of a struggle today throughout the nation with some of these very same problems. He said the Negro economically is facing a depression in his everyday life that is more staggering than the depression of the 30s. He said this in 67. He said the unemployment rate of the nation as a whole is about 4%. Statistics would say from the Labor Department that among Negroes, it's about 8.4%. So in 67, he was showing that the unemployment rate for people of darker skin color was double that of the rest of society, and he recognized this to be a problem. We're not too far out the weeds today as it relates to the disparity in employment from blacks and browns and people of darker skin color than those of the dominant society. And so since the topic was about racial resilience and equity, I figured let me provide some context here related to resilience. So I just brought this definition so the youth and others can just have an understanding of the term resilience. And it can be defined as the process of adapting well in the face of adversity, trauma, tragedy, threats, or significant sources of stress. And so, and it goes on, of course, but adding a racial component to it, it makes me think, how are black people adapting in society in the face of adversity and trauma, right? What does it mean to a black person when you see black bodies being killed and being sensationalized all across the media and social media platforms, right? When you think in terms of Trayvon Martin and Eric Gardner and Michael Brown and all these folks who have had their life cut short for one reason or another, in large part due to their skin color, and then you see these things plastered all over the media, right? Just dead bodies, bleeding bodies, bodies left cold in the street. And there's other things that you can't even post on social media because you'll get what they call put in Facebook jail. You get your account suspended temporarily, but somehow it's a appropriate to share the dead bodies sometimes of black people on social media, right? So what does it mean for blacks as far as to display various forms of resilience and overcoming many obstacles that still cause barriers in society today as it relates to access and opportunity? And since I'm running short on time, I kind of just want to say, okay, where were we and how far have we come, right? We think in terms of Birmingham and the 4 little girls who were killed in that church. And then we think back a couple years ago in South Carolina where 9 black people were shot and murdered and killed in the church for trying to worship their God, right? It's like, when did it become a crime to engage in your religious beliefs? So how far have we come? And so I was going to speak about what does it mean today to use a racial equity lens, right? And we think, but I think a simple thing that we can do to try to figure out where are we at today. How many people are familiar with Jane Elliott? Show of hands. Okay, so Jane Elliott, I was going to show the video, but we're going to skip past that, of course. We don't want no problems. But she asked a question to pretty much a predominantly white audience, and she asked them, she said, hey, would white America like to be treated how blacks in America are treated in this society today? And she asked a room full of white people, she said, if you would like to trade places with how a black person is treated in today's society, stand up. No one stood. She said, wait a minute, maybe you didn't understand the question, so she repeated it to an audience of white people. She said, if you would like to be treated how blacks in society today are treated, stand up. Again, no one stood. She said, so that goes to show that we have not reached racial equality, and you understand that a problem exists. So I think that's a question that we continuously ask ourselves, especially from our white brothers and sisters in the audience. You say, hey, would I be comfortable trading places with a black person in society today? And if not, why not? And what can I do to make sure that I will at some point feel comfortable trading places with somebody who look different than me? Now, here's the flip side to that question that I thought of after pondering on that, because I thought it was a powerful demonstration that she did. I said, wow, how many black people would like to trade places with how white people are treated today in society? I said, I wonder if she asked the black audience that same question, how many black people would have stood up? And I think that would help provide some context and give us a sense of where we are as it relates to racial equity in this country today. Now, of course, Rachel Dolezal would be the exception to that rule, right? There's usually always an exception, and, such is life. And so these are some statistics from The Guardian. You could look at some of the numbers as it relates to police killings, and you can see how black people are still disproportionately killed as far as with law enforcement officers. And again, when you think in terms of Bull Connor in the 60s and the treatment of blacks, it gives you some sense of how far we've come or not come in today's society. Now I just want to think about locally, right? And I'm not going to harp on too many problems. We're all local here, right? We know what the problems are in Dubuque, right? We all are familiar with the cross burning. That happened just over a year and a half ago. The mini cross burnings in the 90s, the 80s. So we all understand where we're at regarding some of these problems. But again, you can't grow in denial. We have to face the facts and reality of where we are at today in society. Otherwise, progress just simply won't happen. So I would encourage everyone to become more passionate and more candid, more frank as it relates to talking about racial equity. I have to shout out my MFC staff. MFC staff, can you raise your hand? Okay, please give my staff or MFC staff a round of applause. And I just wanted to mention MFC staff because they help me stay mindful of racial equity. As every staff meeting that we have, we discuss racial equity. First thing in our staff meetings is what we talk about is racial equity. We talk about different definitions. We look at different racial equity toolkits and try to figure out how can this be infused in what we do at the Multicultural Family Center. And I think that's important and would encourage and challenge all the other organizations in here to do somewhat similar, because we have to become more comfortable being uncomfortable talking about racial issues if we really want to see progress happen. So let's discuss some progress, right, at the local level. This, of course, if you saw the movie Life, you would get this joke, but if not, don't worry about it. So despite Dr. John Stewart, as he highlighted about the police department here in Dubuque and the lack of racial diversity, I'm pretty confident saying that the Dubuque Police Department today is more diverse than it has ever been in its history. So there is some progress being made despite we have a lot more work to do, right? So some people, of course, it can show in some of the work, some of the efforts that's being made that, hey, we want to bring about some type of change. And so I just want to kind of speed through some things, and what I want to do just briefly, or we're going to try to speed this up. So I have a few different organizations in here that I think deserve recognition for the work that they are engaged in as it relates to trying to get us to that place of more racial harmony or more of a racial utopia. And so, of course, I have to start, because I'm biased, with the Multicultural Family Center. So when you see your organization here, please stand up, and I want everybody else to recognize the organization. And as I keep going through here, if you are involved with, volunteer with, donate to, or a part of any of the organizations I mentioned, please stand up, and I would like everyone else to recognize them. Let's start with the Multicultural Family Center, please. There go for staff, board members, anybody who volunteer, anybody who donate. Let's please stand up. Let's keep it going. This was the Taste of the Word that the Multicultural Family Center put on, with over 1,300 people from different backgrounds coming together to break bread with each other as brothers and sisters. Dubuque Human Rights Commission. Anyone in the building from the Dubuque Human Rights Commission, please stand up. We'd like to be recognized. This is an organization that's also looking forward to moving the needle as it relates to people being treated fairly in equity and equality. Dubuque NAACP members, if you're in the building, please stand up and let's be recognized for much of the hard work they're doing here in the local city of Dubuque. A member or a partner, a network partner of Inclusive Dubuque, please stand up and be recognized if you're a donor, volunteer, who's helping also to push the needle and bring people together in racial harmony and equity and push forward. Any members in here from the Dream Center, youth who attend the Dream Center, donors of the Dream Center, please stand and be recognized. Members of the Black Men's Coalition, please stand and be recognized if you help, volunteer, donate. Please, let's be recognized for these various organizations who putting in hard work, time, and energy to bring about a difference and help fulfill Dr. King's dream. Sisters United Empowerment Coalitions, members of them, please stand up and be recognized for mentoring and trying to help young girls have a better focus, a better outcome in life. Little Luxuries Group, if you're a member of Little Luxuries, donate, volunteer, please stand up and be recognized. Organization dedicated to helping young middle school and high school, even elementary girls have a better sense and appreciate the little luxuries in life. So in closing, because I know we had some little pitfalls up in there, so I want to make sure we get out of here. These are just rhetorical questions, right, to try to figure out, hey, what can we do? And let me dial back a little bit. There's many other organizations. These were just a few. I knew I would have a time constraint, but I just want to say, hey, I appreciate all the work that everyone in this community is doing. Even if you weren't one of the individuals on that slide, there's many people who spend a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of hours trying to bring about a difference, and I personally appreciate that as far as dedicating yourself to this community to improve it and beyond this community. So I just thought, hey, as far as rhetorical questions, right, what would Dr. King want to see today, right? And so this is just something that you all can think about just rhetorically. You don't have to answer these questions, right? But how many people in here, don't raise your hand, just think about it. How many people in here have a friend who's Marshallese, right? Have you had a black person or a person of a different race over for dinner more than 3 times, let's just say in the last year, last 2 years? Just think about that. How diverse are your social media friends based on percentages, if you had to think about it, right? Would that look like 10%, 20%, 30%? When you think about the pictures, if you go home today and look on your Facebook, Twitter, and you just look at all the pictures that you have posted, what percent of those pictures are people who look just like you, right? And that will give you a sense of, hey, how diverse is my friends? Where am I doing? Where am I hanging? Who I'm partying at? Who am I meeting, right? How am I broadening my circle of friends to ensure that I am connecting with other people to have a better sense of the world and a global view of the world? So think about it. How are you either impacting or perpetuating racism based on your beliefs, practices, ideas? These are just things that you can think about, in addition to many other questions, of course, but just thinking, hey, how am I furthering Dr. King's dream? And then I think you should also just challenge yourself, right? Ask yourself the question, how are you advancing equity? How have you contributed to the resilience of another person? What resources or opportunities have you helped other people have to ensure that they can have a great outcome in life? And so just in closing, I just thought this quote right here was a powerful quote to end on for Dr. King as well, where he said, hey, our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that matter. So again, as I said one time in a presentation, let's become very explicit about even implicit bias. So those little small things that some people may refer to as a microaggression, let's not let those things fester. Let's have frank conversation about things in a respectful, polite way, and let's make sure we are continuously moving the needle ahead. And again, if any of the slides on on a presentation that I gave today trouble anyone or caused you to have questions, please reach out to me. We can sit down and have a cup of coffee, and I would encourage anybody to have a cup of coffee, tea, water. I have to advocate for non-alcoholic beverages, of course. But find ways to come and sit down with each other, break bread with each other, have tea, coffee, water with each other if you have a disagreement with each other. Let's figure out what's the commonalities that we share and how do we build upon those. We'll always have many disagreements, right? And it's okay to forgive people, such as the sister earlier who caused a little bit of chaos. I don't know what was going on with that, of course, right? But hey, let's not no one hold that against her, right? If you can have conversation with her, anyone know her, I would encourage you all to have conversation with her, right? She seemed pretty passionate about her views. Yeah, and listen to her. Thank you for that. Hey, let's listen to each other. Let's build with each other, and let's continuously move forward. Thank you all for listening to me today. Thank you all for coming out in this snow. I appreciate it. Thank you all. Have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ferris. We will be out of here shortly. Let me just offer a short reflection. 2 days ago, one of my Facebook friends who looks like me reported about her return to Kenya, where she's been going, spending a lot of time in a small village outside of Nairobi, and she described an event that I think really links to what Ferris is talking about context. When she said that she was particularly interested in a 2-year-old who'd been just a little over a year when she left. She'd held him as an infant and played with him as a 1-year-old, and she said he didn't remember me, of course, which he shouldn't at that age. But after I'd been sitting in the room that she inhabits there at her computer, he got the courage to come up to me, and he started rubbing on my arm, the skin on my arm. And so I knew that we'd be best buds in a few hours. The reason this 2-year-old was rubbing the skin on her arm, she said that's what the young kids do, because they're trying to get the white off so the natural color can appear. Now, if you can just imagine for a minute what the world of that 2-year-old is, where darker skin color is the norm, what he sees all around him. Those of us who look like me in this room, I think our lives could be enriched if we could enter, at least try to enter the world of that 2-year-old where the context is different from what it is now. Of course, Ferris referred to the question the woman asked, would you trade places? And so I won't go there, but I'll just say it would be an enriching experience for us to try to imagine the real of that 2-year-old and to use that imagining to broaden our own lives and give us a sense of how we can respond to the questions Ferris asks us and report additional activities that we're engaged in that promote equity and try to level the playing field that we all know is tilted dangerously. Imagine the real of the other. The Hempstead Choir will conclude our day.
One day, when the glory comes, it'll be ours. It'll be ours. Whoa, one day, when the war is won, we will be sure. We will be sure. Whoa, glory. 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 Oh. Glory.
Hands to the heavens, no man, no weapon. Formed against, yes, glory is destined. Every day women and men become legends. Sins that go against our skins become blessings. The movement is a rhythm to us. Freedom is like religion to us. Justice is juxtaposition in us. Justice for all just ain't specific enough. One son died, his spirit is revisiting us. True and living in us, resistance is us. That's why Rosa sat on the bus. That's why we walk through Ferguson with our hands up. When it go down, we women and man up. They say stay down, and we stand up. Shots, we on the ground. The camera panned up. King pointed to the mountaintop, and we ran up. One day, when the glory comes, it'll be ours. It'll be ours. Oh, one day, when the war is won, we will be sure. We will be sure. Oh, glory. 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 Glory.
Now the war is not over, victory isn't won, but we'll fight on to the finish. Then when it's all done, we'll cry glory, glory. Oh glory, glory.
Glory.
Selma's now, for every man, woman, and child. Even Jesus got his crown in front of a crowd. They march with the torch, we gon' run with it now. Never look back, we done gone hundreds of miles. From dark roads, he rose to become a hero. Facing the League of Justice, his power was the people. Enemy is lethal, a king became regal. Saw the face of Jim Crow under a bald eagle. The biggest weapon is to stay peaceful. We sing, our music is the cuts that we bleed through. Somewhere in the dreams we had an epiphany. Now we right the wrongs in history. No one can win the war individually. It takes the wisdom of the elders, the young people's energy. Welcome to the story we call victory. The coming of the Lord, my eyes have seen the glory.
One day, when the glory comes, it'll be ours. It'll be ours. Oh, one day, when the war is won, we will be sure. We will be sure. Oh, glory. 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 Glory.
again in the faces of our children. We rise again in the voices of our song. We rise again in the waves out on the ocean. And then we rise again. When the light goes dark with the forces of creation across the stormy sky, we look to reincarnation to explain our lives. As if a child would tell us why. Sure as the sunrise, sure as the sea, sure as the wind in the trees, we rise again in the faces of our children. We rise again in the voices of our song. We rise again in the waves out on the ocean. And then we rise again. We rise again in the faces of our children. We rise again. We rise in the voices of our song. We rise again in the waves out on the ocean. And then we rise again. We rise again in the faces of our children. We rise again. We rise in the voices of our song. We rise again in the waves out on the ocean. And then we rise again. And then we rise again.
Thanks again to the music department of Hempstead High School, to Julie Spahn, our interpreter, and to all the people who helped make this possible. And thank you again for being here, because presence counts in this struggle. Have a great day and a great week. We're dismissed.